decided it was time to update some of my promotional material, and I started with the promo for Sweep Picking Mastery. The centerpiece of the original material is a neoclassical sweep progression, using arpeggio shapes taught in the course with a full band instrumentation. The progression is included as the last exercise of the course, with an accompanying backing track, and it's meant to tie everything together while also serving as a demonstration of how the material can be used. Looking back on it, I was actually surprised by just how little I dug into the harmonic possibilities of this progression. Now I can only assume that I was too focused on the technical aspects of the course itself, and I failed to fully switch into composer mode to flesh out the idea. So I decided to have some fun with it, and rework the instrumentation entirely from scratch. These changes included adding an organ part to explore the harmonic potential of the progression, as well as bringing in reworked rhythm guitar parts and an entirely new bass line that emphasizes certain harmonies and transitions in the progression. The drum part is also new, and I believe it fits better with these changes overall. And I think it's better in general simply because I'm a better drummer now than I was then. I removed the synth line entirely. Didn't really care for it looking back. I also slowed the whole thing down by about 5 beats per minute to give more weight to each chord and transition. It seemed like a great opportunity to demonstrate the difference it can make to explore the harmonic potential of any pattern, progression, or melody on the guitar, instead of merely going with what is the most apparent or expedient. Initial ideas are usually the most natural, but have a tendency to be limited by our focus at the time of coming up with them. Giving some time to go back to an idea and listen for what you might have missed can make all the difference in the world. This progression is doing some interesting things that open up a world of harmonic possibilities that I failed to explore in the first version. In just a moment, I'll go over what arpeggios are found in this progression. But first, let's hear the old version and the new version back to back. If we look at the sweep progression, which is identical in both versions, we have a C minor, A flat in first inversion, and that's using the third as the lowest pitch instead of the root note. Goes to a B diminished, a C7, F minor in second inversion, using the fifth as the lowest pitch, C diminished, C minor, and G. Again, that's C minor, A flat, B diminished, C7, F minor, C diminished, C minor, and then G. The reason I chose to use the inversions was more about keeping the patterns in close proximity to each other, but also has a strong effect on the overall sound and movement of the progression. Instead of getting deep into what's happening with this progression in this video, I'd recommend playing around with it for yourself, and considering what each arpeggio is doing in relation to each other and in relation to the key of C minor. A point of interest that's worth exploring is why the transition to C7 works where it does, and why changing the root chord to major doesn't interfere with the darker neoclassical sound of the progression as a whole. If you'd like to try out this progression or play around with the backing track, you can follow the link in the description to sign up for my mailing list. I'll send you the downloads for the tab and the new backing track, followed with some practice tips for it. And then, if you'd like, you can stick around for more tips each week. I'll also include a link to Sweep Picking Mastery in case you're interested. And that's going to take you from the very basics of sweep picking all the way up to the progression that we went over in this video. Now, to me, the new version of the instrumentation for this progression is worlds better and much more interesting than the original. But which one do you like better, and why?